Hit start?
Yep. Yeah, we good. Yeah, we good. You good?
Yeah, good, man.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a new episode of Mental Radar. This is episode 11, and we got some fun topics for y'all today. Today's episode is called Holistic Healing. Here with my good friend Leo. You can go ahead and introduce yourself. I already said your name.
Appreciate it, my brother. Got my brother Keith out in the building. So my name is Oleo Samuels. You know, Instagram is Oleo, then the number 4. You know, you want me to just give him a little bit more?
Sure.
All right, so just a little bit about myself. So I went to Morgan State University, 2006. Was out there for about 20 years until I finally graduated. So I was a double major, biology, nutrition. So that's what my background actually starts with when I started getting my first encounters with nutrition and overall just the quality of life and biology, and everything of that nature.
Okay, cool. And yeah, so everybody that's watching, definitely feel free to be interactive. We want to hear from y'all to make the conversation fun. I can see you on IG and I can see you on Facebook. So anybody want to say something, feel free to go ahead and tap in. Now, so we'll go ahead and get started. I know you gave a little bit of your story, but before we get too much into that, what would you say your definition of holistic healing is?
See, with holistic healing, it's the total. It would be mind and the body, because I believe sometimes people just might focus on just like the body part.
Uh-huh.
But it's also the mind include like the mentality, like some people say mind, body, spirit, soul, different things of that nature. But I think it encompasses in totality like everything of a person's being. And so when you think of like the holistic, I think of it like a person being whole, in all aspects. So
Okay,
that's why I feel like just having a good quality of life. Like I believe like health is wealth.
Okay.
So one of my phrases that I love is like wealth equals the ability to fully experience life, right? So that like you have to be financially literate.
Right.
You also have to be nutritionally literate because if you don't have any health, you don't have any wealth.
Absolutely. A lot of people always leave that part out. So I'm glad you said that. A lot of times when we're on our road to financial freedom,
right,
we got to think about you have to be allowed to spend it. Absolutely. So you can have all the money in the world, but if you're not healthy, you're not, moving around the way you want to move around, you got that money for no reason. So you got to make sure that, you stay on point with your health and your wealth. So
absolutely.
I like that. I guess my definition of holistic health is very similar. It's just encompassing the whole, like you said, mind, body, and spirit, and understanding that all of these things are important. All of these things connect. You can't just choose to focus on one. You got to have balance in everything in your life.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's the way I look at it. And I know you already mentioned it, but yeah, I guess give a little bit of your story. I know you said you're a nutritionist. So when did you make that decision? Like, how does that happen? How do you decide, hey, I'm going to become a nutritionist?
So it wasn't very early in my Morgan State matriculation, okay? Because I graduated like 2013 to 2015, something like that. But while at Morgan State, even growing up, if you take it back from just me growing up as a child, I've always had a fascination for like zoology or zoologists, filmmakers, nature, and in general, whether it's animals, nature. So I've always had that fascination. But what happened with me was once I had started like doing business and I started looking at like different entrepreneurs, then it made me start setting goals for myself. And then my grandmother started to get sick.
Oh, wow.
So before I started setting the goals of, like, I want to start learning nutrition, my grandmother, she developed Alzheimer's and dementia before she became brain dead.
Oh, wow.
And what happened was we started having to take care of her physically. And my uncle had died. He died from lupus. Then my grandmother got sick. And then I started seeing a couple of different family members start to, like, get sick. And I'm sitting here, in college, like, trying to like, dang, what can I do? How can I help? Right. Besides just money, I was just like, and what happened was the doctors would prescribe stuff from her. And every time they would prescribe stuff for her, she would actually get more sick. But every time my mother and I would do like different home remedies, she would start feeling better. Okay. So that's what sparked my interest. And in school, I was already taking up biology. So I was already studying life, how diseases work, everything from viruses to vaccines. to how the origin of things. So, I was a little bit of a nerd, right? Some people don't, know it. One of my friends,
Surprising.
he was a biology major, so you would have never guessed, right? But so then, as I was a biology major, since I had this fascination, I started getting like, I wonder how different things I could do other than the biology and the medical field, because I was going to go to school to be a doctor.
Okay.
That's when I got in. I was like, you know what? I should just start taking up nutrition. So I started taking up a minor, 6 classes. But then they were like, might as well just be a double major and stay a little bit more longer. So that's exactly what I did, and that's when I just became a double major. And I just also took nutrition alongside with biology just so I could learn different things like, hey, if someone else's grandmother, they're going through some things, how could I help them improve their quality of health where you don't have some of the drawbacks that you may get, when it goes to taking the medicinal route of drugs. So that's what sparked me to say, okay, I need to find out some natural ways, some natural remedies of different things that we can do to help people. And I just like helping people in general. So, if I can make somebody smile a little bit long, I always tell people it's not about adding years to your life, but adding life to your years.
Okay.
So that's something that I live by.
Okay. Well, man, that's a powerful story. I mean, I never knew, I knew that you were into, nutrition, but I never knew the depth of it or why it became that way. So that's good stuff, man. I'm really happy and proud to hear that. That you really you saw a problem and you took the initiative to solve it. So, that's definitely amazing. So now we know why. And I know you said that you do have the tea company as well, right?
Oh yeah. So usually, when you have different types of I'll call it problems, right? I like to be solution oriented.
Okay.
And every problem, is opportunity to either learn, grow, or to create something. Right. So we just had, COVID in the last couple of years. So what I decided to do was, all right, well, how can I expand my, value to other people or my talents and things that I know? And so now what that made me start doing is to dive a little bit deeper into herbology, like different types of herbs and everything, and learn now how just outside of the natural foods that we give people, how we can take it over to the herbal side and do different things like that. So I actually launched a company called Fueled by Nature.
Okay.
The Instagram is FBN, Fueled by Nature. And then the website is fuelednature.com, like the past tense of fueled, FULED, nature.com. And what I do on that website is I create different teas for people. So they have natural teas of anything from detoxing, getting rid of drugs and stuff like that out the body, improve the immune system, help battling viruses like COVID, boosting the testosterone, getting the men together, getting the females together, right? And things like I also make syrups and salves. I'm still creating more things. So even sea moss, make sure people get the sea moss right too. Elderberry syrup. So a bunch of different products that I've just been working on. And I do like special order. So that's like when people, talk to me directly, and if they got some different issues in their life, I like to kind of create something that they can have that hopefully it could add some value and help improve whatever that they're going through. So I created that company specifically to start helping people, improve their health during these times.
Okay, that's awesome. So a person can call you and say, hey, I have X, Y, and Z going on. I'm allergic to ABC. And then you'll just sit down and create something specifically for them, for whatever they need.
Yeah, so if they need something, they'll tell me sometime. Usually once they tell me, I got to research. That's when I got to go through different things. This is where my biology background comes in handy.
Okay.
And my nutrition, because most people don't know how to research.
Right.
Most people think Google is researching.
Absolutely.
most people think talking to their parents, their best friend, their lover, their spouse is researching. And what I always tell people is you got to be careful of that, because if your best friend, your mom, your dog, right, your sister gave you strychnine, right, which is a poison, it'll kill you. It doesn't matter how much you love a person, it's intended to do a purpose. And a lot of times people may get advice from people they love, but sometimes, or just from searching things, and they may not know. People have biases, and plus a lot of these companies also have, we'll call it hidden agendas. They have biases. You may have companies that will sponsor or they'll pay for studies that they have different studies. But if the studies don't go like they won't publish it. They won't publish this data. Or they'll retract it, or they'll compare it to something that's worse or bad in order to make it look good.
Gotcha.
All right? So that's where I kind of like will have to research different things. And as with herbs, a lot of research isn't done on herbs. So a lot of it can be anecdotal, where, you know, you finding out what works. And so a lot of things you got to kind of like talk to people and say, hey, don't do this in too much, because with herbs, certain things can be very powerful.
Right.
So you got to do certain things in moderation, but certain things you actually need more of. So that's why I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, like they're dummy, like they don't know nothing, and I'm like, let me give them an amount that I know they can't hurt themselves, mess themselves up with, and I'll, you know, do something like that, where as opposed to them just saying, hey, let me just go order all this type of stuff, and I'm just going
mix it together,
and I'm going to be good, you know. I'm like, cause listen, if you take nutmeg and you eat a whole nutmeg, you probably die.
That's crazy.
So you gotta watch.
Be careful with them pods.
You gotta be watching. You gotta watch what you take, man. Definitely gotta watch what you take.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, one thing I want to piggyback on is, you know, you saying that. So a lot of times people go to people who, the way I would say it, aren't qualified to answer the question.
Absolutely.
So I just want to point that out, and I want to say that again. That make sure that you're going to qualified people to receive your information. What's that comment? Oh yeah. Repeat the website.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's fuelednature.com. So FUELED nature.com.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so, yeah, and thanks for that. But, yeah, make sure you're listening to qualified people.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't want to dive too deep into this, but you also mentioned there's not a lot of research being done on the herbs. Mm-hmm. You feel like that's a money play, or why do you think that is?
It's about the money. It's about the Benjamins, baby. Listen, when it comes up, the reason Big Pharma, you got to understand this, like big pharmaceutical companies, they purposely can't promote the medicinal benefits of eating right, of saying, hey, this works, because then those billions of dollars that they make in the pharmaceutical industry, that they make from hospitals, that they make from different doctors, physicians, from making you sick, they would start losing.
Right.
Think about it. People go to want to be doctors and stuff. There's six figures starting off and stuff. Like, there's a lot of money to be made in the pills, the medicine, the operation, the drugs. There's money in every single line of that. But how much money do you think they can make if they say, hey, y'all, just go eat some fruits and vegetables?
Right.
It's not very, you can't really promote that to make you money, right?
Yeah, it's not advantageous for anyone to...
Not at all. Not at all. And that's why if you look at doctors, because most people think that doctors are qualified to give nutrition advice. This is not true. Doctors only know about the same as much as a lot of people that's Googling stuff. They're only getting about 6-7 credits of nutrition. So that's why some people would think, oh yeah, I talk to my doctor. Well, doctors are the main people that are keeping people sick. Now, you have doctors who are trained that do different, like save your life. Or if you have a doctor that's a heart surgeon, they might be the greatest heart surgeon, the greatest renal. They can great with your kidneys, great with your liver, help different surgeons. But they may be great surgical doctors, but they're not supposed to have the knowledge of, hey, I'm not going to say not supposed to. They just haven't learned. They specifically don't teach them the knowledge of saying, hey, we need you to know this type of stuff about nutrition, because it's, I guess, Big Pharma said it's not that important. So instead, the people who are most qualified to give nutrition advice will be nutritionists, one. And if you want to take it to the next level, dietitians. Then if you want to make sure it's at another level, registered dietitians. Because they're the people that they've gone through extensive different, credentials, but they've learned a lot when it comes to nutrition.
Right.
And I've worked in a hospital setting for about 7 years. And a lot of times the doctors go to the doctor, they would come to us, they would come to nutrition, the dietitians, and they would say, hey, we got a renal patient, or it's an AIDS patient, different things like that. Hey, we need a salt-free diet. What kind of diet can we do for this? We would write it up behind the scenes, give it to the doctor, then the doctor prescribes XYZ. Wow. So it looks like the doctor's the one. The doctors are like the face of everything. But the whole time, they're not the one that's really giving all the nutrition, and as you know, when you start working in different fields, even as nutrition, we have books right there. So you don't have to memorize anything. I think Albert Einstein said I would take most of my memory. I don't remember facts and figures but it's more important to know how to get access to the information. So they would just have it there, and they would know what to look for and how to look for it. But I always tell people, if you want to start doing some research, like if you are looking for different information, one great place to start is PubMed.gov. If you go to PubMed.gov or .org, I think it's PubMed.gov, you get scholarly journal articles. This is where you can see peer-reviewed case studies, cohort studies. You can see cross-sectional analysis. This is when you get to see true research where it's not just anecdotal. It's not just someone saying, hey, I tried this and it worked. You can see different type of studies where they took people, went from whether it's a certain amount of time or they had double-blind procedures where people didn't know who had a control versus, a lot of these companies like Pepsi that'll do something with sodium or benzoate in it, and they'll just say, hey, we're just going to check this with no control, and then when you really find out sodium benzoate is bad, the benzene is bad, it can cause cancer, but people don't know that, they're drinking Pepsi every day. Wow. Maybe I shouldn't say no names because I'm trying to get sued. And another thing, nothing that I say is nutritional advice or anything. Consult your doctor if you have anything. And none of this is also legal advice. This is all entertainment for purposes only. You gotta say that because people try to sue you, man. You gotta say that stuff. But
no suing.
I'm up for no advice here. This is just me talking.
Right, we're having a conversation
absolutely.
about amazing things.
Yeah, and so that's what I would say as far as that part is definitely a money play. Definitely a money play. Imagine if doctors, instead of prescribing a medication like Lipitor and things like that for heart meds or for, let's say, like heart disease or anything like that. Let's say Viagra, right? Mm-hmm. A doctor can, I don't know how much Viagra costs, but they might pay $50 to $100, and then they keep on giving you something. The problem with that is they want to keep making money because they don't fix the true root of the issue. It's a Band-Aid. It's a cover-up. Okay. So as long as they keep covering up, as long as they keep you sick, they keep making money. But if they said instead, hey, like let's say for Viagra in general, right? So that's for men. That could be erectile dysfunction. Well, if a man needs the fact that, like, let's say they need to keep taking Viagra, they don't know what's wrong. They have ED. They're like, yo, what's going on? I can't get it up. I'm having some issues, man. I need the pill, right? Well, that could be a sign that this man is about to have a heart attack. Okay. But this man may not know that. So literally, like the penile is trying to say, you're about to have a heart attack. There's a problem coming your way. When things happen on the body, it's not just happening just because, so some people would think that it's a psychological thing. They just think, maybe I'm getting older or I don't know what's happening. But really, they don't understand that. See, the heart, the veins are like double the size in the heart than it is compared to the penile. The penile, the veins are half the size. So what happens is it's a good precursor mark. It shows you directly like, hey, you're getting a lot of cholesterol. You're getting a lot of saturated fat. Hey, these arteries are hardening up right now. You're getting atherosclerosis. Like, it's trying to tell you, like, the reason you're not getting hard right now is because you're just about to have some issues. But then when that person finally has a heart attack and they don't know what happened because it hit them like this, that's what it was trying to tell you. So when you keep covering that up, giving Viagra, instead of telling somebody, hey, you need some low-inflammatory foods, maybe get rid of some dairy, some meat out your diet, some saturated fats decrease, which would in turn do the same exact thing that the Viagra will do. They don't prescribe because they can't make any money off that.
That's crazy. So I don't want to go too much further than that. I'm going to switch the question up a little bit. So do you feel like food can be medicine?
Food is medicine, but all food isn't. Okay. Food can be medicine or food can be poison. It just depends on what foods you eat and how much of it you're eating. All right. So to answer that question in short, yes and no. I don't know if you want me to dive into it or
give us a little bit more.
Okay. Let's say you have a diet, right? That's it's a high inflammatory diet. Mm-hmm. Right? The 3 top causes of death right now are heart disease, cancer, and COPD. Pulmonary issues like asthma and COVID, different things like that, right? It used to be heart disease, cancer, and stroke, but that was like 2006, 2007-ish, right? Okay. So, it's chronic pulmonary obstruction, different things like that. So, let's say you're eating a diet, and the top things that attribute to this, let's say the number 1, heart disease, would be meat, specifically chicken, beef, then fish, and then it would be eggs, and then I can't even add. Yeah, those would be the top 5: chicken, beef, fish, eggs. I'll throw dairy in it, and I'll say that's the top 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means if you have a person that they have fear or they're getting that's a high inflammatory diet also. They have high inflammation. They're usually it's because they eat those things right there. The top 2 out of them that literally have more than all of those that I just now said are chicken, which is poultry, and eggs. And I'm talking about, and the inflammation to eating an egg is I think it's equivalent to smoking like 5 cigarettes.
Oh wow!
So it's like that's how strong. Now, so let's say, and because it's a lot this has a different place from your hormones growing up to everything. So let's say you're eating these foods constantly. So what happens is you're constantly making your body sick. You're constantly getting your body in a state of inflammation. You're constantly having your hormones disrupted. So that means somebody like that may not know how it feels to be completely healthy. They may feel normal, but they may not. But normal doesn't mean healthy. Yeah. And for Americans, an average American or a normal American is unhealthy. In fact, America has 30% increased death rates compared to any other country in the world, despite our third world, whatever, first world, but despite all the technology and stuff that we have. Right? Now, that would be different. That would be like the top 5 causes of, I would say, death, of eating that type of lifestyle. And I'm talking about eating it all, fast foods, processed foods, and whatever those foods is mixed up all different kind of ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your hamburgers, your hot dogs, your bologna, those type of things. High in sodium, high in saturated fat, high in cholesterol.
Gotcha. Now,
if you wanted a low inflammatory meal, this would now be medicine. So one, let's say if and I'm gonna give it drastic just to give it just to create that dichotomy, just to give it a complete polar opposites on this one. Now let's say you're eating a diet that was now it's going to be high in nuts, cruciferous vegetables, fruit, and beans, legumes, and then we'll say fungi. Those top 5 would now be medicine. So as you're creating yourself to be sick, let's say if you took a break and you say I'm a fast, and typically 14 days is a fast that you do that can kind of reset your gut health. Because a lot of people don't know that their gut has a lot of your gut is that's the central system when it comes to your health, right? So let's say you say, all right, cool, I want to clean this out, and now I want to put something better in there. And you start eating those 5 now low inflammatory foods, you'll start healing yourself. You'll start reversing heart disease. You start now, and the reason I said these 5 things, those top 5 those food groups are because they have a lot of the different compounds in there that are going to create the health. Everything from now, that's in general. I'm just giving you a general, like you eat those different things. But when you start getting to what different fruits that you're eating, you can increase the polyphenols, right? So you can increase the phytonutrients that you need. But one of the most important things that I like to talk about that many people don't talk about is fiber. I'm always a big advocate for fiber. The average American, I believe, eats maybe 10 to 15 grams of fiber. I think the USDA recommends to eat 28 grams of fiber. When you start looking at different places in the world, they eat on average anywhere from 80 to 150 grams of fiber a day.
Wow. So like a multiple of it. That's crazy.
Multiple. So when you have the people that eat that much, that fiber is what feeds your good gut bacteria. So if you're not feeding your good gut, guess what? You're sick. See, our gut bacteria, I want to straight you away from your question, but just kind of give you just a hint with the gut bacteria, because this is where it all counts at. Our gut bacteria knows that we have good and bad gut bacteria. Right? So the good gut bacteria want to keep us alive. It's warm. It's moist. Right? They're like, oh man, as long as you keep food with us, they want to keep us alive. So there's a synergistic relationship there. Right? However, if we feed that gut bacteria, they can multiply. And that literally goes to our brain, signals, hormones, different things like that. Like we can't break down fiber. Humans don't. But our good bacteria can break down fiber, and now it releases different enzymes and like neurotransmitter signals. Like it helps facilitate that role. Like things like propionate, right? And I don't know how to remember that, but that's something that the good gut bacteria can produce. That now we get it. So in the way we are kind of digesting it, and when you have that increased fiber, it can decrease it can decrease everything from like people getting the hypertension, the high blood pressure, sugar, diabetes, all the different things. And many people, I even hear sometimes the myth. I get this myth all the time, Keith. Mm-hmm. People say, "Oh no, I can't eat fruit because of the sugar."
Right.
Well, when you eat fruit, it has fiber. The fiber blunts the sugar effect. So that means now you don't get a spike. Same thing like when people say, "Oh, but nuts, isn't that calorie dense?" Nuts are fat. It's true. But you can actually, let's say you had a regular Western diet, right? Mm-hmm. And you add nuts, you add calories. Those nuts will act as negative calories and will actually help you start losing weight, increase the thermogenesis effect. And now you'll start losing weight just from adding nuts into a diet. So even on a regular Western diet, adding different things like leafy greens, right, can actually just start decreasing the negative effects of the bad food that they're already eating. So that's how powerful food can be medicine.
Okay. Wow, you know your stuff, man. Nah, I appreciate you. Like, this is, I'm learning too. This is very valuable information. So,
gotcha.
Thank you for sharing. I guess I do want to ask this question. So, we cover how food can affect your body and your healing and things of that nature. How does it affect your mind and the way you think?
Oh man, great question. So I'm going to take it a couple of different directions with this, right?
Okay.
There's been studies done that's shown, like you take people who have depression, mm-hmm. right? And if you feed them these same high inflammatory foods, these foods, and I'm not the angry guy attacking me, okay? All right, because I have to be. If I'm giving advice or I'm sharing my perspective, I have to give what the science points to, and what's the correct information. I'm not, So meats have what's called endotoxins in there, all right? And it's not just the meat; it's the endotoxins which are in the meat, produced from bacteria. It doesn't matter how much you cook the meat. You can boil it, you can burn it, you can grill it. All these different things. The toxins survive. Bacteria might be dead, but the toxins are still there. These endotoxins then can affect our mood. So we have serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. These are different hormones that produce a good feeling in us. It's been shown that when you give a person who's already having depression or someone who's never had it before, and you keep giving them high inflammatory foods, you're giving them the dairy, the meat, the cheeses. You're giving them the eggs. You're giving chicken. Poultry is like the worst. It's worse than beef. All right, so you're giving them these different things. What happens is now that person gets filled up with a lot of different estrogens and a lot of different hormones that literally are making them sad, literally making them mad. And so, to give it in more simplistic terms, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you do an accomplishment. An achievement. Let's say you just had a kid, all right, and you wanted the kid. We're gonna say it like that, all right? You're excited. You're like, What happens is you got a hit of dopamine, right? So you just felt a high. Okay, let's do another one. Let's say you ate your favorite food when you're sad. You know how some people say, "Oh, I'm eating because I'm sad." What happens is they're getting a hit of dopamine. It makes them feel good. That's why people say, "I'm eating to feel better." Okay, the same thing when they smoke. When people smoke a little bit, what happens? They're getting a hit. It's getting them high. They're feeling good. They're getting high. Same thing for sugar. Sugar's a drug. So now they just chilling, but now they're like, "Oh, I gotta get some sugar," right? They eat some candy. They're getting a hit. It's making them high. Sugar can be just like crack cocaine. Okay, let's take cocaine. Let's take a drug, narcotics. What happens when you get these drugs? It increases these good hormones. That's what they are. They're cell signals. But those do is they affect your mood directly. So they're making you feel either high or good. The same thing happens with social media. Somebody makes a post, they get a like, they get a comment. That actually is just like a drug. So what happens is all these things function in a similar way. They increase that person having a high, that dopamine, that oxytocin, that serotonin, increase the mood, increase them feeling good. here's the thing about these foods, right? Because meats, cheese, we're gonna meat, dairy, cheese, eggs. Because these foods, one, don't have fiber. When you eat that fiber-rich food, leafy greens, vegetables, fruits, that bacteria can help with. It helps with your hormones. Plus, it makes it so it releases different hormones to say, one, you're already full, slows digestion. Two, it will start releasing things to help you feel good, and suppress appetite, suppress your appetite at the same time. So that way, you feel like you're already full. You're not anxious. Decrease anxiety at the same time, and then it allows for the good hormones to be transmitted. Two, now that's one way because you have the gut. You have that symbiotic effect, right, from the bacteria. The second way you can eat is literally, I'm going to give it to you like this. You have a cow, right? Because let's say you have estrogens, which is a hormone. People get all these estrogens. You can lower your testosterone and stuff like that, eating too much, having these things. And people don't get it. Let's say you're eating from cow, dairy and cheese. We're gonna talk about that real quick, right? Mm-hmm. You got to understand, and this is why little girls are having periods at such a young age. Even ages of 7, they reported children having periods. Wow. This is why some little boys may not even have their best erectile days in front of because of these estrogens, right? If you have a cow, the cow is pumped with different chemicals, different estrogens that are literally made so the cow can keep lactating, so the cow can keep producing milk. That's not normal. But now the cow is forced to be in that stage of that excessive estrogenic effect. So now the cow keeps producing milk, keep producing milk, keep producing milk, keep producing milk. So that's why it's full of so many chemicals. But then now people eat that same meat of an animal that was forced to keep on being in a state of like puberty. Right. So now its hormones are crazy because that's how they can also breed cows so they grow so fast. So that way a cow that would have matured and got to a certain size in about 6 years, in 6 months, you're seeing something go from a cow to this big. So what happens when people consume this is they get those same chemicals in them. So now when they get those same chemicals in them, it affects us. And one thing it affects is our mood. So because when you have these high estrogens, it can block off testosterone for men, block off different, and it can upset your hormone balance. So when you eat different fruits and vegetables, what that does is they have chemicals in them to actually offset that, and actually will improve your mood. Things like tart cherries. You give people some tart cherries, more and more tart cherries. These things actually increase serotonin levels. So it's literally boosting your mood. Blueberries. These things, they do the same effect. They have the same. You eat some blueberries, it'll start making you feel better, right? High fiber foods, all right? Even things like how people, you walk outside, right, and you get vitamin D. Uh-huh. Many people don't know that. Let's say if you have broccoli, right? Mm-hmm. Broccoli has what's called sulforaphane inside of it, right? And they have thylakoids. It's the green pigment of like leafy greens that now it gets that vitamin D. Did you know that if you eat leafy greens and stuff like broccoli, and then you crush the broccoli up, wait a couple minutes before you eat it, that releases the sulforaphane, that now if you go outside, you'll actually feel better and you'll actually get more vitamin D because the thylakoids, from that chlorophyll can activate the vitamin D from the sunlight.
Did not know that.
Most people don't know that. So they don't even know. It's different ways you can eat to activate certain enzymes in food to increase the health benefits. Just like how most people know when you mix a couple of foods together, like turmeric and black pepper, or tomatoes and avocados, they have a synergistic effect. So now it increases not only the absorption, but it enhances the effect that it has towards the body. So you literally can eat foods that make you feel better, and you can eat foods that make you feel worse. And they've shown that with studies that they've shown people with depression that have ate a certain way and they got worse, and then they've ate another way and they've gotten better.
Okay. All right, so let me ask you this.
Okay.
So I know you're not bashing me, but I want to know, can a person have a healthy, balanced diet that includes meat?
Now, when you say healthy and you say balance, I hear different things. Now, are you saying like just like what do you when you say healthy? Like if they healthy, like can they just like?
I mean, can they still eat these meats as long as it's balanced out by the vegetables, the fruits, the nuts, and things like that, can you still have the meat and, you know, keep your body in balance to a point where you're still healing yourself opposed to, you know, killing yourself?
So that would be definitely dependent on the person. So there isn't a general answer for that in totality, right? Now, the first thing I would tell a person is to get what's called a Carroll Foods Intolerance Test. I know a couple of people who do that. Most people don't know that they may be allergic or intolerant to foods, but because they don't show signs of it, they don't even know what's harming them or not. So there's sometimes can be people that eat apples, and that could be toxic to them. But because they don't see a big change or something that happens in the short term, they may not know. So everything so we have in general, then there's specific. So in general, if a person is just saying, let's say if they're eating both, they're never going to be as healthy as they could if they ate just like, let's say, a whole food plant-based diet. A whole food plant-based diet is going to be entirely the most healthiest that you can be. Okay. So a person that's not even, because it's like you have like different parts of Asia where people are living 110, 115 to 120 plus years. So I would have to ask the person, like, how long do you want to live? Right? If a person's like, I don't care, you know, if I die at 70, I'm good. Well, then I might say, hey, well, if you eat meat and you know, vegetables and you're doing it like this, you're good till 70. You don't have to worry about nothing. But if this person is like, listen, I have a family of these complications, and my father died, this person died of cancer at age 50, and they're dead 50, and they're mixing both, they may want to start looking at certain things. But if they're getting checks and getting checked up and checking like their antigen, their A1C levels, you know, checking different things for cancer, you know, females, they're checking for different things like for breast cancer awareness and stuff like that. If they're getting checkups in the lab and they're getting blood work done and it's shown that it's good, and especially, most people are not going to get that test. But if they do get like a Carroll and learn what things, then I believe that they can have a quality of life where it's sustainable. It's not going to be the best, but it can be sustainable. And especially if they incorporate things like taking fasts. Fasts can be wonderful for health. Okay. And every day you fast. So there's different ways to eat. Like, there's been studies showing that if you eat your calories, the same amount of calories that someone would normally eat every single day, if you eat those calories between a consistent 12-hour window, it'll actually boost your health compared to eating at any different time of day.
So like intermittent fasting.
It's an intermittent fasting. Just so there's different types of intermittent. So you can have one where you eat between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. So every day 6 p.m. is your last meal of the day. Then they can do different things like that that'll help their body out. Okay. If they eat at all different times of day and are eating any kind of thing they want and just kind of mixing it up, then it's not the most conducive to health. So I believe they can if they actually learn a little bit more about health and just start saying, okay, well, at least let me not eat before I go to sleep, or let me have my biggest meal, my first meal. Because many people don't understand or know this. Your dinner should be breakfast. Your breakfast should be dinner. So your largest meal of the day should be your first meal. Now, here's the crazy part, right, of how when you eat foods, how it works to your body. Mm-hmm. If you eat healthy, like a real, very healthy meal, as your first meal of the day, it actually increases in health. Here's the caveat. If you eat unhealthy as your first meal of the day, it decreases how unhealthy it is.
Oh, wow.
But it doesn't make it worse.
So if it's a cheesesteak in the morning.
If you're going to eat your cheesesteak, then you want to eat your cheesesteak in the morning. Because that'll be actually when it's going to be less impactful as something that's being hurting to your body. Because now when you give yourself, you give yourself some time, because you need 4 hours for your food to digest, right? Now, once that 4 hours stop, the fast starts. So now you have I'm saying on estimate about 4 hours, right? So now, different things, meat will take longer to digest than carbs, different things like that. But now, that fasting area, if you don't snack, so you shouldn't be snacking. Like, you got to give your body time to relax after it's digested, and that's what helps you, one, stay more active, because it's been shown, people that eat more in a daytime, especially a bigger meal, their body will actually want to be more active compared to someone that's not eating at all. Unless you're doing like fasting every other day. But they've looked at different things to see what do people stay to, like, you know, that they stay committed to, and what's the most easy to do. And that's how they'll try to say, all right, well, if you do this, can you do that for the rest of your life?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to wrap it up because it's a lot of information.
That's a lot, man.
And I appreciate all of that, brother. Like, it really was valuable. And, you know, I appreciate that. So, just to wrap it up, I guess, what's a few tips, maybe 1 or 2 tips you would give people that are just looking to live a little bit healthier? Yeah, they're looking to go down that path.
I'm going to give you a couple, right? And this is going to be, I'm going to give you the first thing I want to tell you about was sleep. Sleep affects your health. The times you eat, like, you shouldn't be eating 4 hours before you go to sleep. Also, your circadian rhythm is very important, right? So the times that you eat your food, your circadian rhythm affects your mood, right? Just like stress does. The more stressed you are, stress increases cortisol. Cortisol increases body fat. Just missing 3 hours of sleep or sleeping past 2 a.m., like, if you get to that time between 12 to 2 a.m. is actually the most quality sleep hours towards your circadian rhythm. So if you're getting sleep around that time and you haven't ate a bunch of, like, meat and stuff like that, it'll actually, and you're fasting around that time, you'll boost your health. You'll boost your mood. You'll decrease your body fat, and it'll help maintain or lower weight. So I'll tell people the first thing is get on a sleep schedule. And if you can, like, some people work overnight, so it's harder because they have to now adjust the light. You don't want to have any white light or blue light when you go to sleep, because anytime you have a white light, it takes away like 30 minutes of your quality of your REM sleep, your REM sleep. So, and even studies have shown, just giving people that you love hugs. There's little simple stuff like hugs that boost your dopamine and serotonin levels, just as well as, like, you know, like if you're in a committed relationship, right, and you're having frequent sex, it's been shown that it's not the energy exercise of sex. Like, you're not burning a bunch of calories. But the thing is, it increases, for men especially, it increases your testosterone level because of the competition that your brain psychologically is having with the woman. Of, like, it's almost like a competing thing that now it'll actually make you healthier. But however, there's a caveat again. If you're cheating on somebody, if you're sneaking to have sex or something like that, it has a negative effect. And that frequent sex will actually make you more anxiety, cause you more stress, and actually can lead to ill health. So, you know, and now on top of that, when you get to the point where you're creating your weight at a better weight that you want, most women and men don't realize that just eating better or getting to a better weight actually increases their sexual arousal, stimulation. Most people don't know. People that are obese or are like having heart issues and stuff like that, their sexual arousal is very decreased. And most people don't know because they're thinking it's like, oh, it's him, or no, it's her. Actually, it could be both of the people. Right. Like, they don't understand. Like, eating better can change that, right? So, and then you said you wanted some. So I actually wrote down a couple of regular little tips too that I wanted to give you. So let's see what I got right here real quick.
Okay. While you're looking that up, we got a question. Do you do consultations or sessions?
So I don't do like, I'll give out free stuff. So yes, I'll talk to somebody. I don't do anything that I get paid for because it's just something I love to do. Okay. So eventually I will start like my own business with it. Right now, if you have any questions and stuff like that, I always allow people to ask me anything. So, you know, on Facebook, it's Oleo Samuels, Oleo Samuels. You can hit me up on Facebook, and I'm always willing to answer questions. I'll even make live videos sometimes on like different topics people ask. So don't hesitate if you got any questions. I am open to answering any type of questions that you might have. All right. Negative calorie. All right, we'll talk about water. How much water should you drink a day? Quickly, whatever your body weight is, half that in ounces, you should be drinking a day in water. Very quick, very simple. If you want to start losing weight, right, one thing you can do is you can negatively preload with water. You can drink water before you eat your food. And that will actually help fill your stomach up quicker, so that way you lose weight. All right? Cool. Another thing. Well, you can also do a salad also before you eat, all right? AMPK, how to activate this. This is the fat controlling hormone, right? You can either exercise, or you can do fast actually to activate that too. Vinegar, acetic acid, you can do a couple teaspoons a day. And that boosts your AMK. All right. Let's do, or you can do also a quarter teaspoon of garlic powder. All right. And that can boost it. And while we're talking about that, let's give you another one. I already gave y'all the thylakoids. So, all right, give you something with greens. This is going to be when you're cooking greens. Because I didn't talk about this at all. I'm not, because you'll be wrapping up. But the way you cook different foods actually can be very vital. So certain things you can cook out the nutrients in. And certain things, oh, dang, yeah, this is a great one. All right, example, tomatoes. If you take a tomato and you're eating a tomato, tomato technically is a nightshade vegetable. So it has toxic properties. But if you peel a tomato and de-seed it, that is the healthiest way to eat the tomato. Do not eat the peel of a tomato. Do not eat the seeds of tomatoes. All right. And if you cook tomatoes, it increases the lycopene, which benefits. You got a higher antioxidant content. A couple of things off the top of my head that just popped in my head. Increase your antioxidant content. Add parsley to anything that you can. Add a little splash of parsley. Clove is probably the highest thing that you can eat with antioxidants. If you can get a little bit of clove in anything, sprinkle it in there. All right. Talking about foods. Another food that you don't want to eat the skin of is white potatoes. If you eat white potatoes, that skin is the toxic part of it. And of course, frying potatoes is what's going to have acrylamide. Acrylamide is what's produced as very toxic. It's cancer causing. You don't want acrylamide. So that's what happens when you fry carbohydrates. So with those white potatoes, the skin is the most toxic part. At least peel it if you want to keep eating your French fries. Now, sweet potatoes, on the other hand, are very healthy. Now, on top of that, when it comes to like different things you eat, sweet potatoes, the peel on the sweet potato is the healthiest part.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's vice versa. Just like greens, if you blanch your greens 15 seconds in some hot boiling water and eat them, it boosts the health. With greens, when you see that bright green color, that's when the most nutrients are bioavailable. Plus, you want to make sure you get some fat in while you eating greens. So if you get some olive oil, put olive oil on your greens before you eat them. Your kale and your spinach, things like that, because it's going to boost the absorption, the bioavailability also in your body. Also, mustard seed powder, when you add to your greens, can activate it. If you add mustard seed powder onto your broccoli, it can activate that sulforaphane. Remember, sulforaphane in broccoli is the active ingredient that's going to give you the health benefit. If you just eat broccoli straight, eat it, you're not going to activate it. It doesn't give you as much health benefit. However, if you crush the broccoli first or cut it up into pieces and wait like 15 minutes, it gets activated, and then it increases the bioavailability of the broccoli. All right, now back to what this is. Fiber. Tip on fiber. When you eat fruits and vegetables, that fiber is not the same as Metamucil. There are all kinds of different compounds that are found when you're eating fiber from fruits and vegetables compared to just adding a fiber supplement. They are not equal at all. While fiber supplements may boost your stool size, eating fiber from natural sources are going to not only boost your stool size, add bulk, make sure you're not getting diarrhea, but also give you the health benefits also. Okay, so the fiber are not the same. And on talking about fiber, vitamins and supplements. A lot of that stuff is you're wasting your money. You're just paying for expensive urine. So when you see these vitamin C, vitamin E pills, vitamin A pills, fish oil, a lot of that stuff is a waste of money. And some of that stuff is even poisonous. Now, vitamin D, cool. But a lot of those other ones, waste of money. Just trash. Just waste of money. Vitamin B12, if you are someone that's vegan, vegetarian, you need to make sure you're getting vitamin B12. It is made from bacteria. So people that eat meat don't have a problem with vitamin B12. That comes with your energy, right? So, but if you don't, you need some vitamin B12. Your liver can store it. So if you take like 3,000, I think it's microgram units, and you do that Monday, it can keep it in your liver till like Friday. Then you can, redo it up. Or you can take some, every day, like 200 to 500. I think it's nanograms. All right, let me look. I lost my dang on those.
Well, you're all good, man. I mean,
all right, cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know how many, what you wanted.
No, we good. I mean, I definitely think we might need to just do a second episode because I see that there's so much
There's
more
a lot of stuff,
to discuss. So we'll probably link again and do a second episode.
There was any questions for last final thoughts or anything? I can't see anything.
No, we just got that. This was an amazing, very impactful episode. So thank you for doing that. And again, the purpose of Mental Radar, we're gonna have different topics. We just want to help people that can see people that look like us have conversations that don't usually happen. So
all right, so this will be in closing. This is the average person, because let's say you just watch this live, and you're like, listen, y'all saying some great stuff. I want to be a little bit more cognizant. I want to be more direct, intentional with my health. Like, what are some simple steps that I can do today? There are. I love Dr. Gregor Mendel. He has what's called a daily dozen, 12 things that 12 different things. It's a dozen of like fruits, vegetables, and fungi that you can eat. That literally, when you eat these different things daily, they can boost your health. And these things are going to be one, cruciferous vegetables. Right? This is your leafy greens. Start incorporating more of this in your diet. Because even if you eat bad, just changing and eating these things and adding them to your diet can help you start living a lot better. And it's like 3 servings for that. Flax seeds. Flax seeds can do everything from prevent cancer to boost your health and stop a lot of bad things from happening. You want to get some flax, about a tablespoon a day. Beans, legumes, split peas, lentils. You should be getting about 3 servings of that daily. All right. This is heart health, cancer. Everything I'm saying is like pretty much all the diseases. Like you can fight all kinds of different diseases. Drink your water. You can do your apple cider vinegar, which is a couple, you only need a little bit, or you can do turmeric, which you only need like a quarter of a teaspoon, right? Legumes, beans, fruit. So make sure you're getting your fruit daily. It's like 2-3 servings of fruit that you want to get, and I probably gave y'all mushrooms, fungi. It has something in fungi called ergothione. That is like the enzyme that's like one of the most healthy thing from fungus, from that mushroom. It's incredible the health benefits that you can get from mushrooms that you can't get from anything else. So definitely increase your fungi. Get some of that daily. Incorporate that more into your diet. Get you some whole grains also. So steel cut oats, of course, will be better than things that's like oatmeal that's instant. Eat more whole foods, more of abundance, and add that to your day, and decrease saturated fat. And yes, coconut oil is not all it's cracked up to be, and it adds to bad fat. So don't increase a whole bunch of coconut oil. I just gotta say that because some people think that coconut oil is just healthy. But no, it's not. All right, so coconut water can almost be used for plasma in your blood.
Oh, wow.
It's almost identical to human plasma. You could actually drip. If you was dying and you need some, you could use drip coconut water into your skin intravenously. And that's how potent and great coconut water is.
Wow.
So get you some coconut water. All right, but that's just a couple of things. And if you just Google search Dr. Gregor Mendel Daily Dozen Checklist, he has a great checklist that you can use and check off a bunch of great things for your health just to increase that health every day.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you, man.
We
got one more time. What's your Facebook page?
All right, everybody. So you can find me if you hit me up on Facebook. My name is Oleo Samuels. That's Oleo. Oleo. Last name Samuels. Samuels. My Instagram is Oleo. Then the number 4. Or you may see that 2-step king in the middle of the Facebook. Again, Instagram is Oleo4. My nutrition website, the Instagram is FBN. Then Fueled by Nature, and my website is fuelednature.com. And I do have a Facebook that I post a lot of free goodies, tips, all kinds of free information out there just for you to take. It's called Wealth and Health with Oleo. And I have a Fueled by Nature Facebook page also, and you can reach me at any one of those platforms.
All right. Well, thanks again for
Thank
taking
you,
the time
sir.
out, man.
Appreciate you.
I do appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you got some value here, doing, like I said, different topics, just really trying to help the community here. So, if you're probably watching already, you can follow the Facebook page for Life Changers. It's life_changers_LLC. And, if you got any people that actually don't have access to social media, we'll get this up on the Life Changers YouTube page. So, thanks for checking us out.
Appreciate the
You
shirt.
guys have a great night.
Y'all see the shirt right there? You see the boy with the nice shirt right there? Yes, sir.
All right. Y'all stay healthy, stay safe. And we out of here.
See y'all later.